Thank you very much. I think when people talk about my vast experience, it's the coded message for the fact that I'm very old. I'm delighted to be here. This is session 13. I don't know whether that's ominous or not. And if I can beg your forgiveness if I become Theresa May at some stage during this presentation, because my voice is on the dodgy side at the moment. I'm going to be unashamedly pro-tree on the basis that if you didn't have trees, you'd have to invent them. They're the ultimate natural capital contributor, the ultimate sustainability instrument, and I worked out have a key role in 9 of the Sustainable Development Goals. I even managed to get one that was about the rivers and seas one. This is where the trees were making a contribution. But if you think about it, particularly in a development or urban or construction setting, trees do contribute to a huge range of improved outcomes. First of all, air quality improvements, reducing the urban heat effect, helping with both water quality and water quantity, carbon sequestration and reduction, health and mental health improvement. I love that statistic that says if you walk in green open space with trees for 13.5 minutes a day, and I'm saying 13.5, it's not 13, it's not 14, it's 13.5 minutes a day, you reduce your risk of depression by 50%. And of course, trees really add to the amenity, and one hopes also sometimes the price if you're a developer of a development. And they do absolutely contribute to that, creating development which is not about buildings, but it is about place, which was very central to the Select Committee report on the future policy on built environment. So if we didn't have trees, we'd have to invent them. And I'd really like to just make 4 calls to action, really. 2 for the built environment professionals amongst you, and 2 that are for government, 1 for national government and 1 for local government. The 2 for the built environment professionals, I think, are focused pretty heavily on the woodland thing. And there are really only 2 things you need to get right. One is protect ancient woodland. I'm delighted that the government, in its consultation on the revised MPPF, has given an enhanced level of protection to ancient woodland. We've been nagging them for forever, but we've really not let them off with anything for the last year, and it's great to see that that's now out to consultation. We would have liked it to have included ancient and veteran trees as well as ancient woodland, but we've got a toe in the door. Let's try and get that corrected during the consultation period. Ancient woodlands are an irreplaceable resource, often representing over 1,000 years or longer of continuous woodland cover and the hugely rich ecosystems that means. So whatever we do in this country in developing, we've just got to make sure that the last fragments of ancient woodland that remain are properly protected and preferably joined up to make them more robust in the face of climate change and other threats. So that's the first thing for the built environment professionals. For the second thing is really to find ways of embedding green infrastructure standards in all developments. And I think there, the kind of housing binge that we're going through is a real opportunity. We can either get this very right or we can get this very looking at creation of settlements, extension of settlements, even small-scale development in the context of what does this do for natural capital, what does this do for that list of environmental benefits that I outlined, and what does this do for a sense of place and creating a sense of place for communities who are going to live in these homes is really very important. And making sure that the reverse doesn't happen, i.e. that we stick up small boxy houses with lousy environmental standards, not enough green open space, and create the slums of tomorrow. I'm old enough to remember the results of the 50s and early 60s housing binge, which really did create the slums that we're now demolishing in order to build decent houses. There is also, of course, a benefit for developers and construction companies in creating greener places. The government has shown that it's pretty pissed off with the housing companies at the moment, at least the bigger ones. And Mr. Gove goes around saber rattling on fairly regular occasions. It does seem to me that there's an easy reputational win for companies who really embrace the whole concept of sustainability and particularly green open space in the development of settlements. So that's for the first two are to the built environment professionals. The second two, very briefly, are, first of all, one for government. Government procures a huge amount of construction, and particularly the NHS. If we were to really get the right standards of construction procurement in all of government construction, it would be hugely, hugely influential. And, you know, the N in NHS stands for National Health Service. We've got ourselves into a position where we've got hundreds of piddling little, ineffectual, hard-pressed organisations who are doing their procurement, who really have got no time, because they're so fixated about austerity, to really take a broader view of the longer-term benefits that can be had from constructing sensible, sustainable, livable pieces of development. So I would like that to be the thing that the government and government-funded bodies really focus on and use their welly to really pull the big lever that government procurement could pull. And the second is to local government. Local government, bless their hearts, are having a real bad time. They've been beaten around the head by the government to get more houses up. They've got no planners left and no designers left because they can't afford them. And they're being threatened that if they don't get the houses built, they'll have their planning permit taken away. And we find a way of not people and making sure that they have some elbow room to create settlements for the future that take account of that sense of place, and also take account of valuing long-term benefits that will only be reaped over the generations, and that short-term costs and cost reduction aren't the most important things if in fact what you're doing is investing in a much more value for money future. So local authorities are really important. Hug them to your bosom, kick them, do whatever you have to do to get them to do the right thing. Government's got to help with that, but they are just absolutely crucial in what happens for the future. So I'm going to finish by saying I'm here from the Woodland Trust. We have a publication called Residential Development and Trees. If you want it, we've got some copies here, and it's clickable through our website. We're keen to engage with the construction industry, and particularly with the house building industry and professions, to give advice, to give support to those people and those companies who want to show their commitment to respect the environment in their construction work. Thank you very much.